Have you ever felt that the very qualities that make you unique are the ones that make you feel the most isolated? What if those moments when you feel too much or too sensitive, too intense, or too different are actually signaling your greatest potential for impact? And here's a thought that might challenge everything you thought about your struggles. What if your deepest self-doubt is actually pointing directly to your most powerful gift? Now, my name is Jake Talbert. I'm the founder and author of The Giver Method. And today we're diving into something that is deeply personal. And it's this idea of how to transform these moments when your gifts feel like burdens or you're having self-doubt around them, and we turn them into your greatest source of strength. Now, before we dive in, if you are new here, please hit the subscribe button. Go ahead and ring that bell for notifications. We don't want you to miss out on any of the weekly conversations, the content, any of the things that we have about unleashing your gifts and superpowers and creating a more meaningful impact using the Giver Method. Now, I've used this term, the Giver Method, so I want to give anyone who's new, you can go to the channel, watch videos. We've got deep videos about what Giver is and diving deeper into each of the letters that Giver stands for. It's an acronym, but essentially it is a framework that's designed to help you to discover and develop your gifts and superpowers so that you can deliver more value to individuals without asking for anything in return, and that it then leads to deeper, more meaningful relationships. It leads towards making a greater impact. It leads towards stepping into who it is that you were meant to be. And so that's the whole idea of the Giver Method is. If you want to learn more, you can check it out by going to the other videos on the channel or go to thegivermethod.com so you can join the newsletter list, see details about the book and when it's coming out next month, everything along those lines. Now, I'm going to go through these principles or these ideas around how you can turn these burdens or the self-doubt into your greatest source of strength. As I do, I like to cover whatever it is, maybe tell a story sometimes, and then of course, I like to give you an action item for each one. Now, these action items are things that you can start doing today or this week or this month to really start seeing that change and that impact, because it's not about what happens here in the video. It's about you taking steps after the video to actually make those impactful changes in your life. So go ahead, grab a piece of paper, open up a note, whatever that may look like, so that you have the ability to jot down your thoughts as the principle is being reviewed, as well as when the action item comes up, okay? So we're going to go ahead and start then. The first one is about this gift and burden connection. What feels like our biggest burdens often masks our greatest gifts. What often feels like a burden, whether it's being detail-oriented or overly empathetic or deeply passionate, can actually be your greatest strength when understood and applied effectively. So traits like these, while sometimes are overwhelming or misunderstood, they hold the potential to bring unique value to those around you. The key lies in shifting the perspective from viewing these characteristics as maybe some sort of a hindrance to seeing them as specialized tools that help you create positive change. So think of iconic superheroes. The most significant, their most significant powers often started as their biggest struggles. Like, for example, Spider-Man, his ability initially felt like it was a curse, causing him confusion and isolation, but with time, he learned how to channel them to create a more meaningful impact. Similarly, your traits may feel like a heavy load, but with understanding and intentional application, they can really become your most potent assets. And so the action item here for this principle is going to be start by listing out maybe 3 traits that you often have felt self-conscious about, and or that others, you feel like others misunderstood. Like, these might include being overly analytical or deeply empathetic, highly passionate. There's a whole list goes on and on. Reflect on situations where these qualities could be harnessed for good. For example, that idea of being analytical might be excellent at problem solving or strategic thinking. Someone with empathy could allow you to support someone during really challenging times. And passion could inspire others and drive really important initiatives. So this exercise, it's designed to help you to reframe what you perceive as a burden into your assets that really have potential to make meaningful difference in other people's lives. Now, our second one is going to be around this idea of sensitivity and a solution around sensitivity. Many of us feel overwhelmed by our sensitivity to others' emotions or our environment. Sensitivity is often seen as a double-edged sword. It can make us, acutely aware of others' emotions, leading us to develop empathy or connection, but it can also leave us feeling drained and overwhelmed. Sensitivity allows for a nuance of understanding and compassionate responses. Like, it's going to create a space for more genuine connections and really supportive environments. When you really learn to manage this sort of a sensitivity, it transitions from being a weight on your shoulders to a key that really unlocks deeper relationships and deeper understanding of others' needs. So the ability to tune into others can enhance teamwork, friendship, relationship, leadership by fostering environments where everyone feels heard and valued. And so for this one, an action step would be, I believe in journaling a lot, and I believe that, writing down journals. So part of it, you could write out something like a sensitivity successes and commit to writing in your journal every evening for a week. And note specific instances where your sensitivity allowed you to pick up on someone else's unspoken needs. Maybe it allowed you to show empathy with their emotions or create a more supportive environment. This might be as simple as recognizing when a colleague needs encouragement or sensing a friend's discomfort and offering them comfort. And over time, the journal is going to serve as a tangible reminder of how sensitivity enables you to connect deeply with others, transforming perceived weaknesses into maybe celebrated strengths. The third principle is all around authenticity. The part of yourself you're trying hardest to hide might actually be exactly what others need to see. Authenticity can be one of the most powerful tools you wield, yet it's often the most challenging to embrace. Society frequently pressures us to fit into molds, and leading many of us to hide or downplay the very traits that make us unique. This happens a lot when social media and the impacts of trying to show up a very certain way on social media. So when you show up as your when you use your raw, maybe unfiltered qualities, like, you want to find the ones that often are the most often inspiring, the most inspiring and relatable for other people. So when you start to show up with your true self, complete with your doubts and imperfections, you provide others with permission to do the same, which is going to foster an environment and an atmosphere of trust and openness where meaningful connections, they can really build on each other, they can flourish. Authenticity isn't about having all the answers, because you never will. It's about being real, which resonates more deeply than any polished facade could. So the action step here is going to be identify a quality or an interest that maybe you've kept under wraps, perhaps because you feared judgment or rejection. Maybe it's a quirky hobby you have, or this unconventional idea you've been working on, a unique perspective on a very common issue. And this week, look for opportunity to let this be part of your, let this part of yourself shine. If you, for example, you could mention your interest in a meeting or share a personal story that highlights this trait when you're, interacting with, friends and family member. The goal is to experience how embracing your authenticity can lead to more genuine connections and open doors for others to do the same. Now, our fourth one is all around this idea of imposter syndrome and what I'm just going to call the imposter paradox. Here's something that's really fascinating. With imposter syndrome, often intensifies the more skilled you become. Why? It's because as you expand your capabilities, you are constantly challenging your new limits, entering unfamiliar territory where self-doubt can start to creep in. These feelings of inadequacy aren't signs of failure, but markers that you're actually progressing. By reframing imposter syndrome as a companion to growth, then you can embrace it as a part of the journey rather than a barrier, recognizing that feeling like an imposter often means that you are stepping into a new, valuable experience that can transform these doubts into affirmations of your evolving abilities and confirmation that you're on the right track. And so the action item here is going to be start to put together a portfolio of evidence that shows where you've come from and the value you bring. So gather emails or thank you notes, awards, positive performance reviews, even casual compliments, and compile them into some sort of a maybe physical or digital portfolio. When you feel any sort of self-doubt creeping in, take a few minutes to review this collection. This exercise, it helps ground you in the reality of your accomplishments, countering any distorted perception of imposter syndrome that starts to creep in. It reinforces the truth of your capabilities and the value that you've already brought to others while you've been on this journey. Now, our fifth one is all about comparison. It's a cure for that idea of comparing ourselves to others, which once again happens a lot with social media. So comparison, it can be paralyzing, but it's often based on a fundamental misunderstanding. Comparison steals joy by focusing our attention on other successes while ignoring our own journey. The trap really lies in comparing your raw, behind-the-scenes struggles with maybe the polished public victories of others. That's why I said it shows up a lot through social media. This skewed perspective can lead to feelings of inadequacy or frustration. Now, the solution is to shift from a comparison into an inspiration. Use others' achievements as maybe benchmarks of what's possible. Draw on lessons and motivation from their path without, discounting your own journey. Like, this shift is going to allow you to celebrate others' successes while you're staying committed to your own growth and learning. And so the action item here is going to be identify someone whose work you admire, maybe. And instead of comparing yourself, analyze what specifically draws you to their work, whether it's their creativity or their leadership style or the ability to connect with others. And then reflect on how you can incorporate these qualities into your own life while staying true to your own unique path. This exercise is going to shift the focus from unhealthy comparison to constructive learning, allowing you to grow and improve without losing sight of your own journey and strengths. Now, our sixth one is going to be all-around idea of energy, and that there's this equation for it. Understanding how to manage your energy when using your gifts is so important. I've covered this in so many videos over the last couple weeks. Every superhero has their limits, and knowing when to recharge is vital to sustained effectiveness. Your energy is a finite resource, and learning how to allocate it wisely ensures that you can continue to give without any sort of burnout. And so it's going to involve identifying activities and interactions that drain or replenish you and structuring your day accordingly. And as you develop habits that support regular rejuvenation and recharging, whether it's through rest or hobbies or mindful practices, you maintain the steady flow of energy that fuels your efforts. And so your action item here is to create some sort of an energy management plan and list out those activities that just naturally boost your energy, whether it's spending time in nature or engaging in a hobby or connecting with uplifting individuals. And then next, identify signs that indicate that you're running on low in energy, or things like irritability or fatigue or loss of focus. Finally, outline strategies for recharging, like scheduling regular breaks, practicing mindfulness, ensuring that you're having adequate rest. Like, this plan serves as a personal guide for maintaining your energy levels, ensuring that you can give generously without compromising your own well-being. And then our seventh principle is around this, looking at through the lens of a legacy. Like, when doubt starts to cloud your vision, it helps to step back and consider the broader impact of your actions. Your gifts aren't just about immediate outcomes, they're about the ripple effect that can create over time. This sort of a legacy, perspective, it's going to shift the focus from short-term anxieties to long-term contributions. Viewing your efforts through the lens of a legacy allows you to anticipate the enduring value of your work, even when you're facing setbacks or doubts. It reminds that your unique contributions are shaping a better future, or reinforcing the importance of your continued dedication to giving and growing. And so the action item here is to write a future impact letter. Like, imagine that you're writing to you 5 years from now. Describe how your willingness to share your gifts changed their lives. In this letter, envision a specific individual or group who has benefited from your unique gifts, and describe in detail how your actions positively influenced their lives, offering examples of challenges they overcame or growth they experienced thanks to your contributions. This sort of an exercise helps you visualize the long-term impact of your efforts, providing motivation and perspective during moments of doubt. And it really does reinforce the idea that your gifts have that ripple effect, expanding way beyond your immediate results. Because the big thing that I want to make sure everyone's aware of, or that we're on the same page about, is that your superpowers, they might sometimes feel heavy, they might feel like burdens, you might have self-doubt, but remember that tension often signals true potential for impact. The key isn't to eliminate doubt, but to learn to act alongside it, understanding that your unique ways of being in the world is exactly what someone else needs. So start small. Choose one gift that you might feel is challenging and find one way to share it today. Notice what the impact is and build on it from there. Now, if you're ready to dive deeper into this idea of transforming self-doubt into a strength, and identifying and developing your gifts and superpowers so you can provide more value to people, to the right sphere of influence in your life, and create more deeper, more meaningful connections, then I'm going to encourage you to go to thegivermethod.com and sign up for our newsletter, or sign up to be notified when the Giver Method book comes out next month. When we send out any sort of emails or details, we send out exclusive insights, ideas, tips, things like that, of embracing your unique gifts and how to step into becoming who it is you're meant to be and becoming a true giver. If this video resonated with you, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Share it with someone who might need to hear this message. In the comments, tell us about maybe a gift that sometimes feels like a burden to you, that you might find that you're not, you might find that you're not alone as people leave things in the comments. Until next time, I'm just going to encourage you to keep growing, keep giving, and remember that sometimes the things that feel heavy now might be the very thing that helps you to lift up others. And so use it. Use it wisely. Believe in yourself and push past the self-doubt and the imposter syndrome, or that feeling of that burden, because the world is waiting for you to step into who it is that you're meant to be. The universe is waiting to pay you back as you give with your gifts and superpowers without expecting anything in return. So again, until the next time, have a great rest of your day.